Hello, everybody. Welcome to Super Metroid Any Percent Tournament, Losers Round 2, sponsored by Vi. We got Feral versus Toasty today. This should be one heck of a match. What are you thinking, Kip?
Yeah, I think this is going to be really fun. Two really good players. And I believe this is the losers bracket, so a lot of pressure here. Whoever loses this match is going to be eliminated, and the winner will continue forward. So it's going to be a lot of.
I agree. Yeah, it's very exciting, especially when the winner. It's like winner take. Well, it's not winner take all, but it's. I guess loser go home is the way it's technically referred to as, but everyone's a winner here. So
Oh, for sure. But we got a lot of really cool, fun, competitive people in the Super Metroid community. So anytime an elimination is on the line, it's definitely fun to watch and fun to be a part of those races. So looks like we're going to be heading out here shortly in just a second. And if I recall correctly, I believe Feral will be running New Route, and
absolutely, yeah.
Toasty will be running. I don't know. Toasty does different things sometimes. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do tonight.
Toasty did not reveal which route. Feral will definitely be running new route though, going for that 42. As far as I know, hasn't gotten it yet, but has had some good paces. So, and you pretty much need new route to get 42 unless you play like a TAS.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it should be a good matchup here, and we'll see how it goes. I think the winner of this match will be going forward to play.
Some
I'm gonna need. I
someone
think
said
it's
a
a
real
cutie.
cutie. Yeah, cutie.
Yeah,
Yep. I think one of the runner. I think Toasty said it was cutie, a real cutie.
yeah. Cutie's fresh off of just this past week. He ran the third ever 43 old route, so he's in a great rhythm to be playing. So whoever wins this match will certainly have their hands full against Cutie.
Yeah, a lot of good runners that are actually in the losers. We see that Oates is going to be going up against Robotallion, and Robotallion, I believe, got a 43 this week or something, and that's incredible too. So
Yeah, and on top of that, I think even today he lowered his PB down to I believe a 43.30, which puts him somewhere around like 12th or 13th place. Which, Super Metroid, the leaderboard, especially at the top, is so incredibly competitive that anything even getting anywhere in the ballpark of the top 10 is very impressive. So yeah, it should be good. And Farrell, he's one of our best runners in the community too. I think he just kind of recently got back into kind of de-rusting and stuff. So I'm expecting to see some very fast times from him in the near future.
yeah, I mean, with the competitiveness and the optimization of this category, being even like top 50 is something to be proud of. Let alone top 20 or top 15.
Yeah, I agree. So here we are now, coming up on planet Zebes. What? How do you pronounce it, Adam? Everybody has their own way. I don't think there's an official right
I
or wrong.
Good question. I traditionally pronounce it Zebus the way you just did, but I know certain people say Zebus and some people say Zebbies. I've never heard any other. Zebbies is like the most rare, but I say Zebus. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Zebus.
Yeah, so I hear a lot of different things too. So now they've landed, and what you're going to see is both of the runners, I believe, utilize Moonfall here. Yeah, there we go. So that's
Yeah.
as we've explained before, a relatively newer piece of tech that's come into the community. It's about a year and a half old at this point, which sounds like it's not that new, but in the grand scheme of things, that's still kind of a big deal because people ran for a long, long time without knowing it existed. So to be able to moonfall and uncap your fall speed like that, it requires you to use moonwalk. And for those of you that might not play Super Metroid much, moonwalk will actually change some of your movement, especially in some boss fights. So the moonfall itself is not overly difficult to get, but it can alter some things later. So you really have to practice to get used to it.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I tried. I just a casual player, but at the same time I try to do things fast. But like I tried to put on to attempt the moonfall, and I could do it, but like when I'm playing through and I have to fight Ridley, for example, or or not. Well, Ridley actually it works out well, but like just being able to having to turn around, like it just screws up the turnaround mechanics for me. Like I keep walking backwards when I'm trying to face the other way.
Yeah, I understand, man.
For
I gotta
example.
point out. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I just said that was an example. And I
Oh,
was done.
yeah. Feral actually just used a strat in the construction zone, which is the room right before and right after you get your first missile pack. He used a strat that I've never seen before. So that was really interesting. I'm going to have to go back and watch this race again and study that strat. But here they're going to head into the climb. Feral just moved into the climb room. He uses wall jumps. I believe Toasty does too, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't quite remember. But oh no, he looks like he's going to be using some of the behemoth climb here
Yep.
with the ledge grab. So yeah, we've talked before about how neither one of those strats is necessarily better or worse. It just depends on what you prefer. Some people like one, some people like the other.
It comes down to how you execute it. Like Toasty, I think struggled a little bit. He lost his spin jump a couple times. So Feral's was quicker, but in general, it's both are the same speed. It depends on how fast you execute.
And Feral with the 445 bombs time, which general wisdom typically says that I think the moonfall in the climb cuts about 4 seconds or so. So even if, back in the old days, if you didn't have that 4 second time save, he would have ran a sub 450 bombs, which is an incredibly fast time. So Feral's definitely known for having some really sick early game stuff, which we just got to witness there. And he just cleaned up BT, no issue. Toasty will be trying to do the same. Unfortunately, Feral got a little trolled. He wasn't able to collect 5 total missiles before he left the room, but he should be able to work around that, no issue, before the pirates.
Yeah, because each missile drop gives Feral 2. So if he I think if he farms correctly, he can still end up with 1. And if he has 1, then he can get 2 packs to 2, and he'll end up with 5 for the red door.
For sure, and he might actually choose to farm some of these waivers here. Yeah, that looks like what he's going to do. They don't guarantee 100% missile drop right here, but, more than likely he'll get what he needs, and there you go. He's in good shape now.
It's like the cack attacks. Like, they almost always drop supers, but, even, like, if you don't have full health, they almost always drop supers. I don't ever see them not drop supers with full health, though.
Yeah, basically, it's good that you mentioned that. I don't want to get too deep here, but I will explain a small thing about this game that some people might not be aware of. Basically, some creatures, for example, the Kakatax, like you're talking about, will have like a 99.6% chance to drop supers. But then if you are full on supers, it'll force them to drop health, for example. And then if you happen to be full on both, they just won't drop anything because it just depends on what's on their loot table. So there are also things called tier 1 drops and tier 2 drops. Tier 1 would be like regular missiles and health, whereas tier 2 would be super missiles, power bombs. And depending on what you're fighting or what you're trying to get, you might have a certain percentage chance to get a tier 1 drop or a tier 2 drop. So there's actually a lot of complex math going on in a lot of these runs, figuring out who to farm and when to farm.
But it's good they programmed it that way, because like the drops in the original Metroid, it was very stupid, because you would need missiles and you'd get health, and if you needed health, you'd get missiles. It's because it's just completely random in the first game, and you can actually end up not soft locking, but you can end up basically having to go all the way out of Turian. Basically getting through Turian can be, if you're trying to do like an any percent run, it's like missile luck. But like in this game, it's like you're guaranteed to get, unless you're trying to fly, you're guaranteed to at least have some kind of good drops, pretty much, with the RNG's a lot better.
You're right. You're 100% right. And I do think that makes the game much more, not only playable just casually, but also a much more interesting speedrun. Knowing that you can, to a degree, manipulate and control, some of the things that you're collecting along the way. I think it adds a lot of cool strats and different ways to run the game. But yeah, here, Feral's at the bottom of Green Hills here. He's got 1 room left, and then at this juncture, he's going to enter Red Tower. And as we always say, this is the sort of place where you can tell what kind of route the runner is going to run, because if they go down, they're doing old route. If they do go up, they're going to do some form of new route. So here we see Feral heading up, and he will head to the wrecked ship so he can fight Phantoon first.
Yeah, and that's probably the most dangerous part about New Route, is actually doing the Phantoon fight with only 1 E-Tank, because everything does 40 damage without any protection, and it's like, I think 5 hits can kill you even with full health. So we've seen a lot of deaths there, and we've seen a lot of very lengthy fights.
Yes, everything, as you mentioned, everything that Phantoon does 40 damage. His flames do 40 damage. His body does 40 damage. And ironically and sort of dangerously, you actually have to tank some of the damage from him. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to just get a totally like damageless fight. So a lot of times you actually have to tank flames on purpose to set up your Dopplers. So it's definitely important to be mindful of your health, because sometimes he won't drop, any health if he's feeling like being a troll. Toasty, on the other hand, decided to go down, so I assume he's going to be doing some form of old route here. So he's going to go kill Kraid first, and then I assume do some item collection in Norfair after that. So we'll see how that goes, whereas Feral's coming up on the moat here.
Yeah, and the moat, there's two ways to cross it without the speed booster or grapple beam, and one is the continuous wall jump, which Feral is set up for. That was a frame perfect jump, 2-frame window to get this wall jump, and it's good. Feral with a very nice strat. There's also a horizontal bomb jump you can do there. That's a backup to the continuous wall jump.
Feral is on an absolutely blistering pace right now. This is a very, very good time.
Yeah, sub 10,
very
sub 10 green door there. That's like Behemoth would be like on world record pace with his splits, I think.
So yeah, I would love to see him, continue this pace and maybe possibly have a shot at a PB in a race. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, let's hope that Fantoon maybe gives him at least not a slow. Anything but a slow would be nice. See if he can get those 2 rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And 2 rounding is very hard on Fantoon, but Feral's very good at it, so we'll see what he does here. Toasty Muffins, on the other hand, was able to dispatch of Kraid, no issue. I'm going to pick up his various suit, which will, turn the damage reduction into half. So instead of taking 100% damage, he will now only take 50% damage from, creatures and environmental damage and stuff. Looks like Feral's going to start with a opening round slow here. He's hoping at minimum, generally speaking, to, unfortunately, he hit Fantoon a little bit too fast, but he's hoping to get at least around 10 regular missiles into Fantoon on round 1. Unfortunately, he only got 3 there, I believe. So
it's gonna be a 3 round.
Yeah, he can still 3 round without too much issue, though.
Yeah, he can still take 3 hits, I believe. Yeah, he's gotta be careful though. These blue, like we were saying about the drops, like they tend to drop. Like the blue guys can drop anything. We've seen some supers which are tier 2, and we've seen a lot of like tier 1 health drops with missiles. But a lot of missile drops from these blue flames.
Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't get a good Doppler on round 2, which made him have to do a 4 round, but luckily, Fantoon didn't really punish him. After he got a decent Doppler on the 3rd round, Fantoon gave him a fast, and he was able to clean it up without issue. So he's safely through. He already has really nice regular ammo and health, and now his power bombs and supers, he'd prefer probably at least a few more, but at the same time, especially in this route, having 4 power bombs leaving Fantoon, which in my opinion is the most important sort of early game ammo to have for the strats, he should be in great shape. So this is very good for him right now.
We saw in the last, the last race with Scotty, we saw that Scotty got into a lot of trouble. He basically had only 1 power bomb in lower Norfair, and he basically he was saved, but he had no health, and he basically had to try to maneuver himself to the power bombs of shame. And he died like 5 or 6 times. I mean, each time only lost him like a minute, but he eventually had to go back and farm for some more health to get to the power bombs of shame. So having a bunch of power bombs is always a good thing to have in your back pocket.
For sure. Another thing Feral's doing here is doing the attic strat. This is a pretty tough room, in New Route. Sometimes it doesn't look that hard, but it's one of those rooms where if you just mess up a little bit, it can really punish you heavily. Toasty, on the other hand, is in the middle of his item collection phase in Upper Norfair. He just got the, the high jump boots and the high jump boots E-Tank, and now he's going to head up Bubble Mountain here. This is kind of one of those rooms where when you first get started, trying to speedrun this game, it's one of those scary rooms because you have to get some tight wall jumps, and that cack attack at the top can kind of troll you. So he got up there no problem first try. He's going to go grab his speed booster, then his wave beam, before he then heads to where Feral is now to fight Fantoon. So Feral is through. Even though he's in beeping range, he has, he's not dead, and he's going to be able to collect his gravity suit.
A lot of the runners you see, they'll only take damage twice there, but Feral had enough health where he could take damage 3 times.
I will warn everybody, and I say this from personal experience, okay? Because Adam, I think we've talked about this before when we've been on commentary together. There's like a million ways to die in Super Metroid, right? So there is one room coming up that I don't anticipate Feral having any trouble in, but at the same time, if you just grossly misplay it, he could literally die. He just got Gravity Suit, which now brings his defense up to 75% damage reduction. But in this next room, like about 2 rooms from now, there are some crabs, and he's probably going to try to pseudo screw the first one, is the normal strat. And if he accidentally breaks out a pseudo screw, he will run into it, and it will do 30 damage.
Right, those crabs do a lot of damage. Because they're Meridia creatures, I believe, so they're programmed to do more damage.
But yeah, so he's in good shape. That was the only thing. I wasn't worried. You know, it's not super hard to do that strat, but at the same time, you know, everybody messes up occasionally, and I've definitely jumped straight into one of those and died before. So yeah, glad to see him get.
Because if you lose your spin jump, the pseudo screw doesn't work unless you're in a spin jump, right?
Correct.
So that could have been a death there, but I'm sure Feral was, you know, knew okay, I gotta really make sure I don't lose my spin here.
For sure, and you're right about those creatures. You know, you find them a lot in Meridia, and for those that don't know, if you're suitless, like in RBO for example, those crabs do 30 damage to you with 75% reduction. So if you get hit by one without a suit on, it's over a full E-tank of damage. It's 120 damage, so they hit very hard.
Yeah, I don't know why they're programmed to be so strong. I think it's because the game expects you to have gravity and like a bunch of E-tanks when you enter Meridia. Yeah, because Meridia, well, maybe not a bunch, but like maybe like half health or something, like maybe like 6 or 7 when you get into Meridia casually.
Sure,
if you're being a completionist.
But Toasty was able to clean up all of the items that he needed from Upper Norfair, and assuming that he's going to do sort of old route, which we'll find out, but if he's going to do old route, he's going to head to Fantoon, whereas Feral is heading down to Norfair right now. So as you can see, we are getting a high five right now. Boom! They just passed each other.
Right through the tube.
Toasty's going for a really cool strat right here called Alpha Spark. Nailed it. Excellent job. That's a fun one, especially when, like, I remember that being the first Shine Spark strat that I learned, and it was a lot of fun. It's called Alpha Spark, I believe, because it's traditionally the first Spark strat that you can do in the old route run. And since he has 3 E-tanks and he's not super concerned about his health, he was able to expend a little energy to save a couple seconds in the next room. So that was a good trick there.
Yeah, unfortunately getting trolled here. One of his wave beam shot hit the what do you call those, rippers? Is that right, ripper? Or
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, the top ripper kind of got in the way there of the wave beam, and he had to try again, but I think he got it second try, so I'm pretty sure he's didn't lose too much time.
Yeah, he'll be fine. And we call those guys the Ninja Turtles because there's 4 of them, so we thought that was a clever thing to call.
Well, they are, you know, they're very ninja-like. You know, they're moving around there. They're trying to guard the top of Red Tower.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, casually you're supposed to freeze those and use them as platforms, but I think the programmers knew that you could get up there. I think a lot of the stuff they made this game so where, you know, it would be fun to explore at your own pace.
Yeah, I think this game, I mean, obviously since I speedrun it, I'm in love with the game, but I truly believe that this is a masterclass in game design. Especially like once you learn how all the different categories work, it's insane what, you know, you can technically do in this game, even without using major glitches. You know, in terms of low percent, RBO, like you can finish the game without getting any of the suits. So they definitely have it designed around these items, but they allow you the ability to do, you know, things that are way harder beyond the scope of the items. And I think that's really awesome. So
I definitely think it's one of the best made games of all time. I mean, the fact that you can have like this many ways to like play the game, like it has one of the best replay values. Is like you can literally like in any percent alone, like in speedrunning, there's two different main routes you can actually take, and there's like sub routes, like you can go to Kraid before Ridley and new route if you want to. It's insane the kind of strats that you see, you know, just between these 2 different routes.
Definitely. And what you just saw here, I mean, this is an example. Toasty just sparked over the ocean there to get to wreck ship. So what I find fascinating about that is neither one of these runners technically used the sort of, I guess, developer intended strat to get to wreck ship. The intended way, if you look at it from a casual perspective and look at the way the rooms are designed, the intended method is to get grapple beam and then grapple your way across. But Feral used a CWJ or would have used a horizontal bomb jump. Toasty, on the other hand, since he had speed booster when he got there, sparked across. So pretty neat stuff there. Let's see. Toasty's going to get ready for his Fantoon fight. Feral, on the other hand, is essentially collecting all the same items that Toasty did. But you'll note that Feral currently has Spazer, whereas Toasty didn't pick that up. That's because it actually makes sense to pick it up in new route, but not so much in old route.
Yeah, Plasma Beam. You're gonna get Plasma Beam in old route, and Plasma is just so OP. It's not even funny. Like Spazer is nothing compared to Plasma. Ooh, the X Factor.
Toasty nailing the X Factor. That was a fast round 1-2. Unfortunately, the eye closed, so it was a little bit slower than a normal fast. But if he can finish the fight here, he will get a 2 round. I think he's probably going to go for a few missiles and then a super here. Let's find out. Oh. Fast eye close again. That is something that Toasty can't control. Not only does Fantoon have fast, medium, and slow patterns, but he also has fast, medium, and slow, I think, eye closes. Like, as soon as he opens his eye, sometimes he'll leave it open for a little while, sometimes he'll immediately shut it. But
Yeah.
Toasty cleaned it up quickly there. Nice 2 round.
Yeah, very nice. The thing about the eye closing, like, you can, even if you get, like, the worst RNG, there is you can still, like, get a missile in there, I think, but, like, you'll see a lot of runners, if the eye closes really fast, like, because I don't think the program, I think they made it barely possible, but I don't think I think they wanted you to nail Fantoon when he does, like, the sudden appearance, when his eye stays open. I think that's how they intended the boss fight. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, you can definitely, like, what you just said is correct. You can definitely, no matter if it's a fast, a medium, or a slow eye close, you can still damage him during all of those. Like, even if he does the fastest one, you still have a brief moment to get a missile in, but you kind of have to be really tight with your timing of shooting a shot to, like, kill the flames that are coming out. So unfortunately, Toasty wasn't given hardly any time at all and just barely missed, and that's fairly common. But Feral's about to do one of the toughest and coolest tricks of new route. He's going to do something called the lava dive, or excuse me, the lava spark. Unfortunately, he missed a short charge, so he's going to do a backup strat here called a gravity jump. He's going to take off gravity suit for a brief moment while getting the jump properties. Like, he's going to get the normal jump properties of gravity, but then he's going to have the water physics, so it allows him to jump higher. But he's going to have relatively low health after he does the fast pillar strat here in a minute. And if he takes one, like, I think 2 or 3 hits in lower North Air before Ridley, he could potentially die. So this is a very, intense, fun part of the run. Let's hope that he executes.
There's a lot of, I just wanted to mention, like, the route differences. Like, you saw the attic, they both did the same room, but Toasty used, like, the speed booster, and like, that's another example of different route strategies, because Feral didn't have the speed booster when he did that room.
You're correct. And here we have the worst room in the game. Definitely, you have less options to get through this room fast in new route. Feral using the best strat there and nailed it. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that I would say that's the worst room in the game, because if you fail, like, one simple thing, like, you get punished so bad. Like, not only are you already at low health, but it doesn't end in that room. If you take, like, so much damage, you got the key hunters coming up that will probably kill you if you have low health.
That's true. This is another cool strat. He's going to use the Sean Spark to kill 2 of the key hunters, and as in general, that allows him to move very freely through the room, grab a couple drops, but most importantly, notice that his power bombs right now do not lag the room very much. If those 2 key hunters had been left alive, the power bombs would have taken a lot longer to fully explode. So that's an RTA strat. Technically, if you were going for in-game time, you wouldn't care about the lag because it actually lags the in-game time too. But RTA, obviously, you want to remove as much lag as possible.
Yeah, lag reduction, a key strategy in many games. You see it a lot in Mario as well as in GoldenEye, for example.
Ooh, Feral Feral, I bet he's gonna reset the room. Yeah,
Yeah,
Feral
that's the
had an
best.
unfortunate situation there. Sometimes in this game, if you get the enemies in the room off of a certain pattern with the strat you want to run, it's almost impossible to get them back. Unfortunately, he missed that Shine Spark too, so he's gonna have to unload some supers. Which the problem with that is that actually loses time if you don't get good drops. Fortunately for him, it didn't cost him anything other than a little extra health. Those metal pirates drop health and super missiles most of the time, but they don't always drop a ton of supers. So luckily for him, he got plenty, and the supers that he fired at the first metal pirate didn't really end up making much of a difference.
Those were some excellent drops he got. He went from like no supers to 10 on two pirates. That's
And
really
he
gonna
just
come in handy.
Yeah, and he just got a 10th super after firing the super at the boss door, so he got really lucky drops there, but that's what you need sometimes to make it happen. Toasty is going to be heading into Meridia for the first time, so neither runner has been there yet. Feral will go there last, but Toasty's going to go ahead and head to Botwoon and then to Dragon, and as we can see, Feral is currently fighting Ridley. He needs 18,000 damage to kill Ridley. 6,000 of it, assuming that he lands all of the supers, will come from those super missiles, since those do 600 each. Then he's going to have to use his charge shots and potentially regular missiles to do the rest of the 12,000 damage. So this fight takes a good bit longer in New Route, simply because you don't have Plasma Beam.
Yeah, same thing with Mother Brain 2. We're gonna see Plasma. If they enter Mother Brain 2 at the same time, like Toasty's got like a huge advantage because he's gonna have Plasma. But because Feral's gonna be a lot closer, unless something happens, Feral would probably get to Mother Brain first because of the routing.
Yeah, that's true. The main area that this this run, the difference between them saves is on room movement and door transitions. The boss fights in New Route are, usually, slower. I mean, Kraid's the same, Dragon can be the same, but Ridley and Mother Brain are definitely slower. So yeah, Feral cleaning that up very nicely. He's got plenty of health. I think we're going to see him not even pick up the Ridley tank for any kind of safety, and he's just going to head out. He's leaving here with 299 health is definitely an anomaly, so he's going to be very comfortable on his exit here.
That might be the first time I've seen someone have full health without getting the E-Tank in this tournament.
Definitely. It might be the last time we see it too, to be honest.
Toasty using the speed booster there to spark and farm for some health before heading to Dragon.
Yeah, and Toasty was heading up this room here to, I don't know if he was going for a full halfie, but he's going to now move through this room called the Coliseum. This is a really kind of tough room, especially when you first get started, and you might not be as comfortable with the wall jumps and such. But he's moving through it without issue here, making it look easy. And he'll then head down to fight Dragon, while we have Feral doing his lower Norfair escape. All of these key hunters in these rooms do 50 damage each, so he's trying his best to avoid getting hit by them if at all possible.
Yeah, at this point, he's willing to sacrifice a few seconds if the pattern's a little iffy, because it's, he's in race mode. He was in PB mode, but he did lose a little bit of time earlier on. But yeah, he should be fine for this last room. He can take 4 hits and survive.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but he'll only be able to take 3 because he's going to take some damage like there from the acid. But you're right. If he had 201, he would have been able to take 4. But yeah, he's really great at this room, and I don't anticipate him having any trouble. So yeah, he's through here without issue. Whereas Toasty is sparking Dragon. Unfortunately, got a little goo there, but Dragon is very close to death here. I assume he might finish her with missiles.
You can actually get out of that grab as a casual player. Like I thought you actually he would take you all the way to the ceiling, or you could use the grapple beam to kill him with a quick kill. But right. You can actually I believe you have to tap left and right, like alternatively. I think that's how you get out. I haven't played in a while. It's kind of muscle memory at this point.
Well, unless my memory is failing me, I believe you have to have 60 total D-pad inputs.
Okay,
and on
not
the
just left and
right.
right.
On the yeah, I think it can be any of the D-pad movements. But after you do 59, the 60th one will release you. I won't go into it, but the way that I know that is there's actually an incredibly wild, crazy strat that you can do in RBO if you're a beginner, where you actually get Dragon to drop you off, like she'll carry you through the room, and you can get her to drop you off at the very top of the room next to the door. And then you can snipe her for the last hit. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, Toasty picking up his space jump. Feral now heading over to Kraid.
Like the strats for between the different categories are insane. I feel like every category is its own game almost. Like just because the different strategies that are used.
Yes, there are many categories in this game. If you want to talk about, I guess, kind of like the big four, and in a way the big five, like, but the big kind of main four, I would argue, are, any percent is the primary, then 100%, and then you have, the traditional low percent, which I believe exists in most games, and then RBO. All four of those runs are drastically different from one another. Totally different strats, totally different, even tech. There's some stuff you have to do in RBO and low ice that you don't have to do in these other ones. So, really interesting game. A lot of ways to play. Feral dispatching Kraid, no sweat, and Toasty now heading up to get not only the most powerful beam in terms of damage, but Plasma has a lot of other cool properties too. Adam, do you want to say a little bit about what all Plasma can be used to do here?
Yeah, you're gonna see Plasma Beam in Lower Norfair. It's gonna allow Toasty to basically pass through the bigger enemies, and like he'll shoot them, and then they'll be like flashing, and he can just kind of like fly through them. You'll be seeing that with the Key Hunters, I believe, and then not the side hoppers, but the giant side hoppers. I think they have their special name.
Yeah, the Tuskegee.
Tuskegees, that's it.
Yeah, and you're right, man.
Big
The
guys.
Plasma Beam is, really a really interesting, cool, fun piece of equipment. In fact, when I started running, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it passes through enemies too. Like it'll shoot through one enemy and go right into another. I didn't know if you wanted me to list that too as a property. But...
Yeah, that's a really cool thing about it too, especially when you combine it with Wave. It's got a nice hitbox on it and everything. But yeah, that's one thing that I kind of missed when I started running New Route, is some of the cool Plasma Beam tech that you get to do. So we'll get to see some of that from Toasty. Feral is now heading into Meridia to do the same stuff that Toasty did earlier. The only difference between Old Route and New Route, Meridia, is basically Feral will skip the space jump because by the time you get to it, there's nothing really left that you can use it to do to save enough time to warrant picking it up. And in addition to that, he will exit Meridia slightly differently. Notice that Toasty went all the way back down after he got Plasma Beam because he has to head to Lower Norfair. Feral, on the other hand, will backtrack where he came from and then exit to the surface because he wants to go straight to the surface to go to Torian after Meridia. So that's kind of the main difference.
Yeah, and unfortunately with the classic route, as fun as it is, Toasty's gonna end up after Toasty kills his last boss, he's gonna be in the Ridley room, which other than the room next to it with the baby Metroid, it is the furthest you can possibly get from where furthest you can get from Turian or G4. It's like it's so far away. You have to go through Lower Norfair, you have to go through Norfair, you have to go through Red Tower, you have to go through Criteria, you have to go through the entire game.
Exactly.
But Feral's gonna be like a hop, skip, and a jump from Criteria, pretty much.
Hey, I got to shout out Toasty real quick. He got the rare ceiling block destruction in the long hallway before ice. Also, before I continue, Feral's going for the full happy here. One of the most important tricks in this run. Unfortunately, he was like probably 1 or 2 pixels too low, and he ran into that wall. And I think we traditionally call that the quote-unquote goofy quarter happy. Again, I think named by Cot Power, if I recall correctly. But yeah, Toasty was able to accidentally break those blocks using his speed booster blue suit there, which is kind of a funny thing to see. But he's picked up his ice beam. He has all the beams that he needs, and he's going to head to Lower Norfair now.
Yeah, a lot of strange things happen in this match. Feral with the early game strats that you wanted to go back and check, and Toasty with some rare block breakage using the blue suit you get from the speed booster.
Toasty nailing the momentum through that room there. He jumped through the door, and then allowed him to keep his speed, and he used a space jump to get through the rest of the room. Feral shouting out his I guess buddy from his own country, Behemoth, by utilizing the Rain Dance X Factor method there to get a good X Factor at the start of the Dragon fight. There's not too many people that use that. He's going to try to go for a spike suit. Looks like is not going to get it, so I bet he's going to now gravity jump out.
Yeah, unfortunately, spike suit is a double frame perfect trick. You have to not only do the first input, but like I believe it's like a few frames after you have to get like another input frame perfectly in order to get the spike suit, which is faster because you can run with it. But the blue suit you kind of have to stay as. You basically can't let your speed pass a certain point, or else you'll lose it.
Correct. And to your point, I believe it's frame 1 and frame 9. I think they're 8 frames apart. So frame 1 and frame 9 after you unmorph from taking damage.
At 60 FPS, that's definitely not an easy input strategy to do. I mean, 1 frame perfect input's hard enough to have it to be able to hit it like perfectly, but the fact that there's one, you know, like a eighth of a second after that, that's insane.
Oh, come on, Adam. Step your game up, man. Everybody should be able to do an input on frame 1 and exactly on frame 9. Come on.
Well, I do get pillarless consistently, and that's a frame perfect. Well, the big bomb's a frame perfect at 1/30th of a second. So.
Well, I'm totally kidding because honestly, I just mash and hope that I get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, mashing, you know, it's a strategy, but in some cases, you know, some cases it will work, but in some cases, you know, you need to be holding after the mash, so you have to like time it to be perfectly within that frame, and a lot of strategies are like that in this game. I feel like, I mean, I know short charges you don't have to be tapping on that exact frame. You can hold it a little bit before, but if you're trying to get like a really short charge, like for lava fast pillars or the lava spark, I mean, you need to be pretty precise with your taps.
For sure. One thing we just saw from Feral here is, I think, a bit of a race strategy. He had pretty low health entering that farm room before going to the surface, and he actually had a lot of supers, which is pretty uncommon for a new route. And he actually decided to do a 4 farm. Most people either do a 1 or a 2 if they can get away with it, but I like his decision, especially in a race scenario. He knows he's on a really solid pace. You know, it's not a PB pace necessarily, but that's not really the point. You know, when you're in a race, you just want to finish and have a good time. He knows that he's most likely, you know, far ahead of his opponent based on how well he's played. And so he's going to play it a little bit safer, take a few, maybe 4 or 5 extra seconds to grab some extra health and super. So I like that decision.
Me too. And Toasty using the plasma beam to take care of those golden space pirates, whereas Feral did not have the plasma beam and had to resort to the well, in his case, he had to use supers as a backup, but using the Shine Spark as the main way to attack them. But Plasma Beam just makes it, you know, so much easier to get through that room without, you know, fear.
That's right. And you'll notice here, Toasty will have a shorter fight with Ridley. He only has to hit Ridley 20 times with charge shots, but he actually looks like he supplemented some supers. And especially since those supers do 600 each, they're still a good way of doing damage to Ridley. So, you know, that's definitely not like a bad decision. It's either as fast or even faster by just a little bit versus all plasma shots. But yeah, this fight should end relatively quickly. Once Ridley turns pink, you traditionally only have to hit him 9 more times. So I think Toasty's got 1 or 2 shots left and he's in good shape. Yeah, that ended fast.
I believe that the charged beam combo there does like, because you said 20, I think it does like 900 damage or around. I think it does more than the supers actually. The supers only do 600. I think the charge beam does like 900 or around there.
It does, but you can get more supers in than just 1 at a time. Like you can basically get like if you were to just like if he stood still and you stood still and there was no movement involved, you could dump more supers, you know, to do more damage than the charge beam could do in the amount of time it takes to charge. But a lot of times people,
of course, yeah,
a lot of times people don't choose to use the supers in old route against Ridley just because they'd rather hold on to them for Torium. But I like how Toasty, you know, probably gained a second or 2 by utilizing some of those supers at a time where it was safe to use them.
I wonder what the best race time is so far, because I know Oates dropped a 45 earlier, but I'm trying to think of what the best. Because I think Feral could probably get around a 45 if he gets baby skip.
Oh, I think Feral's on a a fast. I think at minimum he's on a 44 pace here. I guess we'll see. It just depends on how the rest of the run goes. But yeah, I would say he's definitely on 44, maybe even 43. It's hard to tell. But my assumption would be that the person with the fastest time so far in this whole tournament would either be Zost or Oats. I'm pretty confident Zost has probably run at least probably at least 142 so far.
Oh,
So
of course, Zos is in it. That's right. Zos,
yeah,
I know Zos got a. Actually, I think Zos got a 43 in one that I commentated. I think he got a 43. I think that might be tops. But Feral probably not going to be too far behind, especially if he can get the skip down.
yeah, and just to be honest, a 43 for Zost is just like him chilling and having a good time. You know what I mean?
But that's
Whereas the
insane.
rest,
Like, that's like top.
I know,
top 20 in him, and that's easy for him.
I know. That's what's so crazy. I mean, like, what a lot of people that maybe don't run the game don't understand is people like Feral, who his current PB is like a mid 43. Like, that is an exceptional time that takes a ton of work. I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of hours. And Zost is at the point, and people like Oats and Behemoth are at the point where they can just do that, like, you know, in their sleep, basically. So those guys are just playing at a different level than most of us. But Feral taking a save here. I like that decision. He knows he's ahead. He's going to now get ready for Mother Brain 1, whereas Toasty has now cleared or fully cleared Lower North here. And now he's making his way up to Torian as well.
I'm going to make a prediction on Feral. I'm going to say 45-39. That's my guess.
Cool.
So I think it's about 5 minutes for Mother Brain 2. That's the way I usually do it.
Well, let's find out. Actually, you know, to be honest with you, I don't even know. There's a lot of people in the community that like kind of know exactly how long it takes from like certain points, and I just, for whatever reason, have never really thought about it that way. The only thing I remember is that it's like about a minute and 15 seconds or so from the time the timer, you know, comes on at the end of all this.
Oh, the escape, yeah.
sequence.
Yeah.
So before that, I have no clue.
The reason I mentioned that is because, you know, that might be something you'd want to bet on, and there is a way to bet in this tournament. Exclamation point bet in the chat. Our sponsor, Vi.gg, is allowing you to bet on the runners if you are of legal age and residence. So that's kind of where I was going with that.
Dude, that was pro, man. Nice segue. And I definitely, just as a runner, want to say that I definitely appreciate the fact that the company is, you know, sponsored this tournament. It's incredibly kind of them, and to be honest, it's put a lot of hype around this thing, and it's pretty awesome to be in a tournament. You know that, you know, we all love the glory and the competition, but it's also kind of cool to know that there's some cash at stake. So definitely thank you to them for that, and you guys can check that out by again typing exclamation point bet in the chat, and it's cool stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, it's cool for the speedrunning community as a whole to have, you know, people basically monetarily sponsoring, you know, the work that these runners put in to the game.
All right, Feral is in catch-up mode, or I guess red beam phase. So he has, I think, 14 shots after the red beam starts. So he should probably catch up 1 or 2 more times before he will be done. And yep, there it is. So yep. Feral has made it through the fight, and now he just has to chill for a little while before Mother Brain 3 sequence.
Yeah, that was pretty good. His health was pretty low there, you know, because you only have 3 E-tanks. You know, you can't even take 99 damage with full health, or technically you can take 99 with full health, because you don't even have the extra E-tank to. Like Toasty's got an extra E-tank he could lose, but Feral really couldn't take too much damage that entire fight.
Yeah. So here we are, Toasty now, in his G4 situation as well. You know, some people don't like this, but I actually really like the fact that you get forced to sit here and wait. Like, you've done all this stuff, you've gotten through all the bosses, you've, you know, hopefully on a PB pace, you've avoided all the bad RNG, and then you have to sit here and think about it for a good solid minute before you're allowed to do anything again. Like, to me, the mental part of that, like the sort of the challenge of having to get nervous before the Torian sequence, is actually kind of fun. So I like the fact that they put this into the game.
Yeah, and another thing that a lot of people don't know, but if you're like a casual player, you might have discovered this. If you go to this room and you've only killed like 1 boss, then their statue will still lose the soul. Like each statue like turns to like gray, and like if you kill Kraid, for example, and go back to that room, only Kraid will turned gray. So you know, you might think that they all need to be dead for that cutscene to happen, but each statue is independent of one another.
That's correct. And look, I think you're right, Adam. I think, look, man, it looks like you know a lot more about the times in this game than me. But Feral is probably, you know, assuming he has a decent Mother Brain 3 here, gonna run probably like a mid 45 here. So
Yeah.
a really solid race time, especially taking some safety, you know, in terms of saving and then also farming a little bit extra. So that's a very, very good time in a race setting. Toasty is making his way through Torian here. And
Very
the
nice.
only difference for him is he has space jump to utilize in a few of the rooms. And his Mother Brain 2 fight will only be 20 shots because he has the plasma beam.
Yeah, should be a pretty quick finish for Toasty as well. The fight's
For sure.
like only a third of the length. I might have gotten that prediction like right on the second if he gets a good escape. I forget what I said though. What did I say? 45, 30 something or 40 something? I forget.
Yeah, something in that ballpark. But yeah, it looks like you're going to be right on the money, unless, you know, anything weird happens. But assuming he gets most of these strats, he should get out of here with a nice mid 45 time. And Toasty, well, you know, I'm not even going to guess what kind of pace he's on because I'd probably just end up being wrong again. So we'll wait and see when he's done with Mother Brain.
He is taking damage, so his cutscene's going to be a little less. Probably about, let's see, 20.
Yeah, he's not going.
I'm gonna say he's gonna get a. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's gonna get like a mid 50. No, that's a little high because he's got the cutscene. I'll say like he's gonna get like a low 51, but that's probably a little. I'm giving him a high estimate because you got to think the Mother Brain fight's much quicker too.
Right. But it's been a really solid run for Toasty as well. I mean, I'm really proud of both of these guys. They both played exceptionally well. A lot of times, you know, from my perspective, it's not necessarily about who wins and loses. It's mostly about like how does the runner perform relative to what, you know, their PB is and stuff, especially in a race setting. And I think both of these guys have played exceptionally. So GG to Feral. He is finished with I guess an official time here at 45:34.
I think that's what I said.
Yeah, man, this you're a prophet.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure. That's insane. I think that was it too. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. Chat's probably going nuts if that's what I said, but we'll have to find out because there is a bit of a delay.
Yeah, for sure. So Toasty in the middle of his Zeb skip here, nailing it, and now he's gonna finish up Mother Brain 1 here with his missiles.
And you're gonna see a really quick fight here for Mother Brain 2. Like so much quicker. Like you'll be like, wait a minute, it took Feral like forever to kill the boss. But that's the power of the plasma beam.
Indeed. I also find it funny, Toasty showing the disrespect to Mother Brain 2 by shooting her head before the fight starts and dropping a power bomb. I love it. Very nice.
Already ketchuping. Like that took like no time.
Yeah, Toasty got him. Nice job, Toasty. So Toasty's wrapped this thing up.
Definitely
yeah,
really
it's gonna be close.
Yeah, a really good Turian overall. He was flying through Turian.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to say Cutie. You know, Feral will now go on to face Cutie, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Cutie mentioned one time that it's roughly about 2 minutes from the time the baby Metroid dies, depending on how you play. So maybe we can use that to gauge, you know, roughly about what time we think Toasty will finish. But yeah, so he is kind of through. You know, once you get through Mother Brain 2, I mean, I'm not saying it's completely impossible to die from here forward, but it's, you know, exceptionally rare.
Yeah, because you get filled up from the Metroid.
Right.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, Feral?
Hey, what's going on? How you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm a bit tired. So it's like almost 2 a.m. in the morning here, so it's a bit sloppy, but overall the race is pretty good.
Yeah, man, you played excellent. GG. Congratulations on the win. And again, you know, I know how you feel, but to say that, you know, like, you're tired and you're sloppy, but a 45-34 in a race scenario where you're taking saves and you're farming a little bit extra and stuff like that is a really nice time. How'd you feel
Yeah.
about the
And
run? What were some good things about it?
my early game was pretty good. I think my entry to Fantoom was a really good time actually.
It was sub 10.
And then
Sub 10 or sub 10 green door. I'm sorry.
it was 9:39 or something. Whatever.
Yeah, I think you got to Fantoon at 10:30.
10:30 for the Fantoom.
Yeah, 10:30. Yeah. That was pretty good. And then I messed up. So I had to do a 4-round. And then Lava Spark. I got the short charge, but my thumb slipped and it went off the D-pad during the transition. So that's why I missed the short charge at Lava Spark.
Yeah, and that's a really tough strat anyway.
But the Ridley fight, I don't think I took a hit.
No, you didn't,
which
dude.
is very rare.
Yeah, we talked about how you left that room with 299 health, which is incredibly rare in a new route run. So that was
that never happens.
Toasty probably going to finish up here with a high 50. Kind of what we predicted. I think that's what we said, a high 50 something. Speaking of predicting, I think I predicted your time, Feral, at like early on in touring. I said 45:34. I'm pretty sure. No, I think that might have. It's like the opposite of a commentator's curse.
That's similar to what Oates got as well, isn't it? A 45.
Yeah, I think Oates. You might have actually beat Oates. I think Oates played today. I think he got a 45:44. I ended with a 4. I'm pretty sure it was a 40. It was a mid 45.
Yeah.
So you guys were definitely close. So if that was a race between you and Oates, it might have even been close enough to to where we were like retiming it. Like I don't know if it was to the second, but it would.
I didn't watch what happened in his race. I just caught the end of it and said, "Oh, I got a 45." Like.
Yeah. So, but like the time like that, you could definitely take him. But your next opponent's actually going to be a real cutie, another really good runner. I believe has a 43.
Yeah,
right now.
he runs old route as well. So
with old route,
his consistency is going to be something I'm worried about.
Yeah, but a 45 in a race is definitely something that could definitely do. 50:49 from Toasty. Well done for Toasty as well. We'll probably be getting Toasty in here pretty soon as well.
Yeah, that's close to his PB, isn't it?
I think it's off by like I don't know.
I think he has a 49. I could be
49.
wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he's got a 49, but I was mentioning this earlier. To run even like a minute away from your PB in especially a one-run scenario with a race and all that stuff, I think is really good. So both of you guys performed really well in tonight's race.
Really good.
Yeah, definitely some of the better gameplay I've seen. Yo, what's up? How you feeling, Toasty?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Good game to Feral.
Yeah, GG.
That was a fun one. Well played, man.
Yeah, you too.
How you feeling, Toasty, about that one? I think you played really well, but I want to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I haven't been playing too much recently, so to kind of bust out a 50, my PB is only a 49, so a minute above my PB is pretty good. Bosses were okay. Fantoon kind of trolled me, but I got the 2 rounds, so it was good. I messed up almost a really good Dragon. So Meridia was a bit shaky, but otherwise, pretty good. Pretty happy.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, GG Toasty. I think you did a fantastic job. Really good race and a really good time for you, especially considering that you haven't been able to practice much lately. Before we have to go, because we have to go here in like 30 seconds, I just want to say I really enjoyed that Mother Brain 2 disrespect with the power bomb and the missiles. Anything that you were feeling when you did that?
Yeah, thanks. I got a little extra time there as opposed to the rando races, so put it to some good use.
That's a great point. Well, hey, man, GG to both you guys, and great job on the tournament so far. So, Feral, you'll be moving on to face a real cutie next week. Before we go, we have to mention our sponsors one more time. VIE.gg. Again, you can see the website by typing ! Bet in the chat, and we want to thank them for sponsoring this tournament and putting up a cash prize. So guys, GG to both of you, and Adam, thank you for doing commentary with me, and I'll let you guys say whatever you want to say before you head out.
Yeah, thank you for the commentary, and thanks for the race. GG.
Thank you guys for grind. Thank you guys for the grind. It's awesome to watch you both play, and definitely follow the runners if you you haven't already.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kip and Adam, and good luck in the next rounds, Feral. Best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we'll be cutting to intermission. Thanks, guys.